yes, how about we get this started? Let's turn on the volume for this. And let's begin. We're going to play through this on English, of course. I don't think you want to watch me play through it on Japanese. My Japanese rating is god-awful, so I don't think we will get very far. So let's start this. Alright. In the past, people really believed that there was a doorway to an alternate world on the dark side of the moon. This dark side could not be seen from Earth, and it was only a few decades ago that images were successfully taken of it. As Earth had been visited, mapped, and divested of all its mysteries and secrets, it was made painfully clear that there were no rabbits on the moon, no traces of aliens, and certainly no pieces of portals to alternate worlds. Now, who the hell thought there were rabbits on the moon? Now, I understand the alien thing, and portals to alternate worlds, but it would be cool. This was perhaps why the journey to the dark side of the moon through the vastness of space was so fascinating for me, and for me when my parents took me there as a kid. Mankind has never set foot upon any of the glittering stars that were arrayed before me. When I realized that, I felt a desire to leave my footprints where no one had gone before. It wasn't until after I learned more about the world that it dawned on me what a foolhardy dream that was. Regardless, it was something that shook to the core so much that I nearly wet my pants. Apparently, he felt so... I guess, I don't know. I don't think I've ever felt anything so much that I felt like peeing my pants. Afterwards, everything before me became a stepping stone in my mind towards my dream of setting foot where no one has gone before. I had no time to waste. If I didn't act now, then someone else would leave their footprints there first. Faster, faster, much faster. The population continued to grow and time ruthlessly slipped away. Only a handful could be the vanguard of it all. Not a day went by where I didn't ponder what I could see. It'd be a new frontier where familiar places, customs, and the past would not exist. A frontier where every small movement I made would become part of history. The footprints of the first humans on the moon could still be found preserved in the Sea of Tranquility Memorial Hall. Those footprints told uncountable tales. Footprints left in the sand measuring just shy of 30 inches. Even so, they were amazing footprints that sent shivers down my spine. Apparently likes the moon. Maybe someday we'll have colonies on the moon. Someday, maybe. With a click, my mobile PC turned on. I awoke to the whirling of the hard drive. Apparently they still got mechanical hard drives here. Whirling of the hard drive. I'm not exactly sure how old this is, so maybe this visual novel was made before solid-state drives were. Since I had fallen asleep, curled up in my chair, clutching my PC, it was difficult to get my body to move. My body felt so stiff, I was sure that a careless motion would break something. Even so, I rather enjoyed the sensation of slowly stretching out my limbs from its cramped position after waking up. It made me feel alive and truly let me know that I was awake. I wheeled my arms to move, then my legs. Although hardly efficient, this was how I chose to do things, and was what happened when I woke up every morning. It was a satisfying action, and one I never had a chance to savor before I left home. On top of the table, I left my rather crude diode lamp on, and of course a layer of fat had formed on the surface of the leftover coffee in my dirty cup. Beside my cup was a half-eaten chocolate bar, which I reached for and crammed into my mouth. I swallowed the unpleasantly sweet chunk as the PC finished booting up. At that moment, my brain went to work as I verified that I had my wallet, memory cards, and bag on me, and that none of it had been stolen while I was asleep. Well, where on earth is he? Think that stuff is gonna be falling asleep. It appeared that I had survived the previous night. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. Survived. I guess it's dangerous where he lives or something. Or wherever the hell he is. However, in order for me to survive today, I would have to make some money. Of course, everyone needs to make money. That's how our world works. And apparently how his world works as well. It had been 3 months and 12 days since I left home. Telling myself that I wasn't just some well-to-do kid pretending to be a ruffian, I flipped open the organic display. I was staying in a cheap net cafe. It was a good-for-nothing establishment that leached Wi-Fi from another shop, and its customers were of equally questionable quality. I guess you're saying that you're part of that group as well? Green Afro guy. Hello, Green Afro guy. Hey, kid. A fine morning, isn't it? As I left the booth to go wash my face, an unkempt clerk greeted me as he played a game at the counter. I figured he wasn't so much being friendly as much as he was making sure I knew he wasn't watching me. The only entrance and exit were next to the counter, and off to the side of the wall were the words, "Everyone pays, no freeloaders." Even though this sad excuse for a building was built in the sewage canal, money was always collected. The only thing that concerned me when I left home was finding a place to sleep. Though I had some money, I couldn't really change my appearance. A fine morning. I'm not fond of your sarcasm, Earth Dog. The clerk's face twisted into a smile at my retort. Oh ho. It is unfortunate to not know what a real morning looks like, since the weather here is just a computer program. He said that lightly as he returned his gaze to his game. He seemed to be from Earth, though I wondered if he came to the moon as unskilled labor, got fired, and ended up here as an outcast of some sort. Why don't you head back on to Earth then? At my words, he turned briefly to glance at me and laughed sarcastically. Things are a bit better here than down there anyhow. Well, if they're better on the moon, and it seems like he's in a pretty shitty area at the moment, it must be pretty shitty on Earth. That's how he responded. Moon scum. Without responding, I went to the washroom. My name's Yoshiharu Kawamura. Probably butchering that last one. I think I got the first name right, but who knows? Someone else might be able to pronounce that a little better than I can. I was born and raised in this lunar city, so I was genuine moon scum. I returned to my booth, entered my password, and booted up the tool application on my computer. A welcome screen whose only good point was its friendliness was followed by a merciless and desolate landscape much akin to the surface of the moon. Countless lines of words flickered on the screen. I imagine it's the kind of effect you'd get if you took a picture of the undeveloped part of the moon's surface with a low-res camera. The screen showed a session of the Lunar Stock Exchange. This was the kind of place for moon scum like me to make a living. The stock exchange? Moon scum like you? I'll get rich without needing to break a sweat. I didn't have enough time to earn an honest living. I took a deep breath and went about business. So he plays the stock exchange. You know, if he's planning on getting rich, why is he living in a cafe? An internet cafe or whatever the hell he's in. Downward revision for the last fecal corner of CK Bio. Possibility of investigation into Emerald Industries over suspicions of collusion. Regarding infiltration, the board of directors at the Lunar Central Bank. With one eye on the stream of news, I focused on managing 220 stocks. Picked up those with large price fluctuations. For instance, if one stock had moved 10% on the previous day and another had moved 1%, there's probably a high chance that the stock that moved 10% would move by 1% today. I would trade it on the notion alone. Putting into consideration the mood of the market based on the news, I would buy stocks with large fluctuations within a turbulent up and down movement of the price. I could extract some profit, which is what I occupied. myself with between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. lunar time. Between those hours, the only things that went in my mouth were food that I could eat one-handed and drinks. To be honest, I'd be so engrossed in trading that breaks were uncommon. Even if I had the free time to take a break, I'd rather use it to look at my screen to grasp price fluctuations and do some trades. After all, a difference of a few minutes when making the call to buy or sell could usually mean the difference between gaining or losing 1 or 2%. My war chest was 72,000 mools. 1% of that came out to 700 mools. Must be the currency they use or something. A store clerk here would make 7 mools an hour at best. This was a place where a public school teacher's monthly starting salary was 1,200 mools, so I could make it in a few minutes what they'd make in a month. If he has all that money, why the hell is he living? He must have some big debt or something that he's just like saving it for or something. Like, I think he said he had 72,000 mools. Unless I read that wrong. It just seems like he's a cheap ass or something, just trying to stock up a whole shitload of money or something. Of course, over the course of a day's trading, some people would win and others would lose, but I was on the winning streak. Of all streaks, and before I knew it, my seed money of 1,000 mools had pooled to 72 times. So I think that's what he did say, 72,000. So he started with 1,000. That's quite a gain. The one and only time I did honest, hard labor in my life was to build that seed money. Since then, I've just been building my assets through these trades. While the gains were a little less than what they used to be, the greater your assets grew, the faster they grew, so it didn't worry me. It'd be what they call a snowball effect. I'd never seen snow before, but I've seen videos of Earth before, and thus I was familiar with it. I don't know if you can actually say it's 100% familiar with it. I mean, you can get the idea of what snow is, but I don't think seeing a video and actually feeling snows and looking at snow yourself is exactly the same. I mean, I think most people could. It would be like, looking at a picture and looking at a video of something is not exactly the same as seeing it in real life. And there are some things you miss detail-wise and senses of the feeling of the cold and other things. I don't think you get the exact same feel. I decided that I was going to make even more money and then lived in the center of this lunar city. It's a place where tons of ridiculously smart people were gathered. It said that 70% of this world's wealth was held by the people there. I'd live it up there, and then the back of my head was high on those kinds of delusions that performed trade after trade like a man possessed. That's why it took me a while to notice. I finally did after I got smacked on the head. Ooh. Yo, kid. Oh, looks like that dude has a PSP almost in his hand. Yo, kid. I turned around to see that the clerk from before is standing in front of the booth's open door. What, you want money? So when did this place become prepay? Or what? Was it something else? Was making money not allowed here? What do you want? I'm busy. As I glared at him, the overly skinny, bleary-eyed clerk let out a tired sigh. That's your reply? I came to tell you... Whoa. What the hell? Oh, that was just a picture. Alright, that's freaked me out there, man. I thought something happened. I came to tell you that the police are on their way to gather up street urchins, and... Before the clerk finished his sentence, my PC had been closed and thrown into my bag. Hey, wait. The employee grabbed my shoulder as I tried to push him aside and exit the booth. Though he was thin, he was still muscular, strong enough to remind you that he was an adult. Still, I always kept a set amount of money in my breast pocket for times like this. I grabbed it, thrust it into his hands. Keep the change. I put on my hat, shouldered my bag, and ran down a narrow corridor. Wondering what was going on in the booth, a bunch of guys who looked like they'd just mumble useless replies to any police questionings peeked through the cracks from their booths, wondering if someone had been arrested. Oh, that is one trashy looking entrance. There's like roots or something growing through the wall there. After sliding past the dirty counter, I made it to the store even filthier exit. The chipped away paint and the rust made the already cramped building feel like even more claustrophobic. I ran straight down the hallway toward the open air. Well, there's our main character. Better view of him, I guess. There were stairs if I turned left at the end of the hall, but I never had any plans to use them in the first place. Without a moment's hesitation, I kicked off the floor, jumped as high as I could, passing over the concrete wall. My body flew out over the street. Because the cafe was on the 5th floor of the building, there was a heck of a view below me. I jumped towards the wall of the building opposite me, and then kicked off from the wall, aiming back towards the wall of the first building. Once the sole of my foot hit a pipe on the wall, I jumped straight up with all of my strength and resolve. Human genes had been fine-tuned for living on Earth over millions of years, so with some weight training, anyone could perform feats like these on the moon, where the gravity was lower. What you couldn't do was to allow yourself to miss your daily training. Jumping from wall to wall, I quickly reached the 14th floor of the building next door. Sounds actually pretty cool, bouncing off walls like that. I guess my heart rate did go up a bit. I glanced down to see a pair of blue uniformed policemen looking bored as they tapped their batons on their shoulders and climbed the stairs. It seemed that clerk wasn't playing a prank on me when he gave me the tip. I already paid my thanks to him when I handed him that money though. By now, he should probably have already used the change from it to kick back with a store-bought beer. For a moment, I opened up my bag in the hallway and flipped open my PC screen. I ran off in the middle of a trade, and so my position hadn't changed. I should be able to get at least a weak wireless connection out here. If I were lucky, prices would have risen and I'd be home free, but usually at times like this, figures. After hanging my head in disappointment, I closed out my losing positions and called it a day. Oh, it looks like he lost some money. Or some value in his stock, I should say. Nothing could come from wandering around downtown in the middle of the day. After jumping from one building to the next, I decided to walk down a deserted hallway towards my favorite Chinese restaurant. It was a time of day when most people my age would be at school, so walking around carelessly would get you chased down by the cops before you knew it. Until you turned 18, the legal age here, it was mandatory that you belonged to some sort of educational institution. Some people would say that this was a good thing, while others grumbled something about government-funded programs. Well, government-funded programs are pretty shit. I think in my opinion, private-funded programs, a lot more gets done. I mean, governments really have not shown very good organization and spending money wisely with time and all that stuff as well. I fell into neither camp. My way of dealing with systems I didn't like was to quietly escape them, not to loudly criticize them. On that note, this area, with all of its complicated passages and extreme elevated changes, it's not odd to see the 7th floor of one building next to the basement of another. Damn, seems like some... I can only imagine what this weird up and down design looks like. Basement of one building way over here, the 7th floor of another right there. Seems like some odd design city here. It was convenient for people like me, not to mention the overgrown vegetation here and there that acted as good cover. These plants weren't originally included in the city plans, but had leaked out of one of the many lunar laboratories where they were messing with their genes. Supposedly, genes had tons of factors that expressed themselves differently depending on the environment, so a lot of plants and animals started acting strangely as soon as they were brought to the moon. That is interesting, if true. You know, bring a regular animal to the moon, or if there's some biome or something built up there, and some weird shit starts happening. It's like acting different. There were even people saying that life forms on Earth could have originated from outer space and brought to Earth via the moon. Some of these plants grew so well in the moon's inorganic matter that you might wonder if they've been around here for 1,000,000 years. Of course, it wasn't as if these plants were free from the laws of physics. Nitrogen and other nutrients from them were often brought over from Earth. So I hadn't heard about any worries that the surface of the moon would be taken over by the green ray. This applied to more than just plants. As for the humans here, it didn't matter how many ultra-elite think tanks came to energize the lunar economy and its industries. Life here just wasn't sustainable without sending a lot of things over from Earth. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense. I mean, it is the moon after all. I mean, there really is no atmosphere. I doubt much is going to be able to made. A lot of stuff, in my opinion, would probably have to be made through, like, biomes, basically. Enclosures. But, I mean, it's a freaking moon. I'm assuming that's probably what they're in. A biome of some sort. Or whatever you want to call it. A dome. I mean, there's no doubt there could be any type of atmosphere. Totally makes sense they would have to bring stuff over from Earth. I don't know what type of material the moon is made out of. I doubt mining, depending on what material's there, I doubt they could really mine for tons of resources. A lot of it would have to be imported, which then would make sense. It would make a lot of basic stuff pretty expensive there. Be an expensive living if they're not able to produce much. According to the government statements, even if the orbital elevator were to stop moving today, there was currently enough biomass here to create an enclosed, recycling-based environment. In other words, we'd be able to eat food, crap it out, then use the crap to grow more food to eat, and so on. No, that's actually kind of funny. I guess, you know, it makes sense, but, yeah. Just reading it. They'd be able to make a ton of electricity with solar panels while collecting direct sunlight to use as a super hot source of heat. So maybe they're right. I mean, people even say that Earth was in more danger environmentally since they're still relying on oil and nuclear power. I didn't know who was right. Whatever the case, I had dreams, and if it meant making my dreams come true, I didn't care if I was on Earth or on the moon. After all, my dream was to stand at the forefront of humanity. It'd be a place where you could only look forward and live by advancing onward. Who cared about what happened to the world behind you? And if I couldn't make this dream come true, then there'd be no reason for me to live. That was why, to put it logically, I never worried a single bit about the moon's environment or whatever. What I worried about was how much money I made and how fast I reached my goals. While I was thinking about these things, I passed through a thickly vegetated tunnel toward high ground. It was a clear day, as it always was on the other side of a translucent membrane. The visible half of the mist-covered earth looked small. The sky over the lunar city was wrapped to see a see-through dome, and right beyond it. Alright, well, they kind of explained right there what they're in, basically a dome. See-through dome. And right behind it was outer space. Gravity was weak on the moon, so you couldn't naturally keep large amounts of gases stored up on the surface. Also, while apparently each 24-hour day on Earth had a morning, afternoon, and night, which was followed the next day by another morning, the moon alternated between 2-week days and 2-week nights. Damn. For 2 weeks, it was always day, and 2 weeks, always night? However, the human body cycle was set differently, thanks to tens of thousands of years of living on Earth. Because most of the people living on the moon were immigrants from Earth, its dome was adjusted to give off light in an Earth-like way. It even had sprinklers attached to it, so that it could rain. Artificial rain. Just sprinklers, I guess, but yeah, artificially rains. However, it only seen things like downpours and thunderstorms in videos. When it rained here, it was always just a drizzle. Strong winds never blew here. That's kind of boring rain. like going in the shower and just dripping down on you. Doesn't seem very natural. No winds, no nothing. Does seem kind of like boring. Ooh, that's boring rain. The only winds felt here were the slow coiling movement of the atmosphere due to centrifuges, Coriolis forces, as well as the gentle breeze as the air inside the dome being mechanically circulated. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. For some reason it's capital. I guess they're trying to make sure that it pops out. I might actually have to look that up. It sounds like I might have heard that word before, but I'm not exactly sure on its meaning. I strayed from the street onto a grass-covered cliff and jumped upward with a grunt. I kicked off a tree branch and rotated my body to land on top of the tunnel. This was a box seat where you can look down on the greater part of the city. I think I'm going to stop there. I will continue where we left off here on the next episode. So I do want to thank you for listening, watching, and everything. If you want, you can subscribe. I will have more videos. I do plan on keeping this going, and as well as including other visual novels and games. If you have any recommendations, feel free to comment on those or send me a message or whatever. Be up to that. I plan on mainly doing Japanese games, or Japanese-like games, mainly probably JRPGs and stuff. Some of the JRPG videos, if I do end up doing them, will be, I won't be, a lot of the grinding I might do in those, I won't be recording, but a lot of the story-based stuff and everything, and maybe some fights I will, but I don't think you want to watch me grind or anything like that, so that type of stuff would be boring. So, just gonna save here, and thanks for watching. See you again.